Good afternoon and welcome. This is episode 17 of the 4x3 podcast. I just want to briefly talk about this new book that I paid a donation for, and it's called 60 Healing Recipes to Help with Pain, Arthritis, Heart Conditions, Stress, Depression, Digestive Illness, Cancer and more. This is a book that I picked up today, and it seems to be quite a decent book in regards to recipes. I'm not sure that I truly believe in the cure-all argument about anything, but that being said, I haven't purely followed a diet based on this entire book, which would be interesting to follow and try to do that challenge for like a week. Now, there's one thing that I did try today, and it was a special blueberry drink. It was very nice, and I can go back a couple of pages, and it's quite difficult when no one can see it at the moment. Basically, it has a bunch of smoothies and juices and soups of all sorts. And there's one page that was something to do with depression and anxiety, and I probably will never find the page again with one hand. Oh, just as I spoke. Now, this is the one I had just before, and it's called Brand New Day. 1.5 bananas, 1 cup blueberries, 2 cups spinach, 3 sprigs of basil, and 1 teaspoon of tahini, and also 1.5 cups of almond milk. And I was a little worried that this would taste a little because I try to do things myself without following recipes, and it always ends in disaster. But this one was very good. The only thing I didn't have was I didn't have basil and I didn't have spinach, so 2 things. And I didn't include anything for the spinach. I didn't replace that. I just used parsley instead of basil, and tahini I used, almond milk I used, bananas I used, and blueberries I used, and it still tasted relatively great. And these have different what's it called? Chapters. And the chapters are in relation to what they help with in terms of illnesses and diseases and whatnot. The book is apparently, or was, $49.95, and that is back in 2015. And I'll try and put a photo up because it's a nice, big, bright, colourful book, and it's very eye-catching, eye-engaging, and it has a lot of little fruits and vegetables on the front cover. And I love it because it's got silver beet on there, and that's the easiest thing for me to grow. While everything else on this page is extremely difficult for me to grow. But yeah, let's talk about what it's like living next to a highway. And where I live, it's almost a 50-50 split between a rural setting with a beautiful reserve and just farmland next to me, and to the right, or the opposite side of that, is a major highway. And one of the struggles living next to the highway is, you probably guessed it, getting sleep, trying to get sleep. Now, if you take trucks, for example, and they are at a single waveform or whatever, they are a single sound, like the ocean. If it's like white noise, then it's easy to sleep. But quite often, and you might hear it behind me, you will get, I don't know if you can hear it, you will get the loud sounds that are almost like air brakes. I think they are, I don't know. But it's a big, loud, horrible noise. And they do that in the evening time, and they have no regard for the townships. Now, I complain because it does affect my sleep, which affects the way I act and behave and the attitude I have. And if I don't get my sleep, I'm grumpy. And they take this highway often. So they're well aware of this town and the speed limit for this town. And they have, a kilometre or two to slow down their heavy vehicle. And they just simply choose not to, in my opinion. And most of the time I find it is, ironically, anything related to farming. Whether it's machinery, whether it's the trucks that are loading wheat or carry wheat or grain, advertising for farming and agriculture. Just anything like livestock, like stock as well. Chicken trucks, pig trucks, cow trucks. They tend to make that horrible noise. And to me, it's all in the name of farming. And I am not a huge fan of farming at all. So it is a bit funny that I live amongst the farming. And it's just so odd because it's just farming of grass and wheat, which it's hilarious to watch them farm the grass, because our grass does the same thing, and I can pile it up and make my own mulch and things like that. But it's just hilarious that there's a business in selling hay, or grass as I like to call it, and a business on selling wheat, which isn't good for you to begin with. And in this world, we are meant to support these farms, and we're meant to support farming, or else we get the boot and we should basically bugger off. Even though it's a toxic wasteland out there, everything that we're surrounded by is pesticides and every other chemical that you could imagine. And when it rains, it definitely rains on your parade, because those toxins go down, or that toxic waste goes down in the river, and it goes down on the road, and it goes down on your property and poisons everything. But this is about living beside a highway. I don't recommend it, but it seems like the cheapest option. Well, not the cheapest option, but for us it was a very cheap option to live here. And that's why I've become used to the noise and become accustomed to the noise, because it is a relatively cheap way to live. I'd like to talk about the hardships of skateboarding and learning a new sport, or learning something new that takes patience and requires patience to actually get the task done. And skateboarding for me is that thing. The hardships I have is always falling and injuring myself, just trying new things on the skateboard. And for anyone who wants to take skateboarding serious, skateboarding is hard as shit. Skateboarding is not for the faint of heart, and unless you are a kid trying to learn it and you have absolutely no fear, which kids, they basically have no fear, then it is a harder learning curve for an adult. Because I have passed the age of having that lack of care and having that being fearless in a way. And now it's all about protecting my bones and making sure I can pass through to the next stage in life without permanent injury. And believe me, I think I'm already getting there. I enjoy the crap out of it, and I've been trying to use adrenaline as a means of overcoming the fear. And doing this, I've been able to drop into ramps that I, in the past, would have said, no way in hell am I trying to drop into this. And then when I record it on video, it doesn't look that impressive. But when I'm actually doing the task, it feels great, and I feel so proud of myself in some fucked up way. And I mean, at the time when I'm doing something and I'm being recorded doing it, I feel like I did something really impressive, and then I look back and I'm just like, oh, now I have to practice this more and more, and what if I practice this more and more and I just still look like a twat. But I use it now mainly for exercise. I do act like a try-hard, but that's because I'm learning as well. And I'm enjoying myself, so I guess I don't really care what I look like for the most part, because I'm getting what I need out of it. And the thing I like to do, and the thing I'm liking practicing, the thing I like to practice at the moment, is going down ramps and sort of trying to, I think you call it carve or whatever the fuck it is, try to act like a surfer on a skate ramp, and to be able to turn my board certain ways and get up on the rail and do a little grind. It's basically like a manual grind. No, it's like you quickly pass the rail, you don't grind in a long distance, and then you just go down again. That's stuff I've been able to do. I don't think I'll be able to do anything better than that unless I've practiced rolling in on the drop-ins, which I am now even more terrified of doing, because I have to pretty much leap over the ramp, I think, a little bit. And I'm so sick of landing on my wrists. I've done that my whole life, to the point I think I've got many fractures. And I try to act like, I've never broken a bone in my life. But I've never gone to see if I've actually broken a bone, but my wrists probably, my ankles probably, little bones, I guess. And it seems so much easier for kids to learn this thing. That's why I have more muscle memory in rollerblading and being able to drop in very large heights, but like obviously up till vert ramps, which I haven't been able to do since I was a kid, and probably once or twice have I done that. But skateboarding is one of those things where if I go a couple of days without practicing the drop-ins, I'm not even remotely going to drop in again. And a part of it as well is I get worried and embarrassed that people are watching everything I do at the skate park. So having the confidence is a little bit hard when you don't have your own private skate park. But anyone who's over 30 or who feel like they're too much of an adult to skateboard, I highly recommend giving it a go. It's fun, but at the same time, if you really don't want to damage your body, I don't recommend it at all. And I'm sure I'm going to quit for good at some point. But yeah, we'll see. Every so often I find a new fruit or a new vegetable that passes me by when I go to a local plant store or something like that, and recently that very thing happened, and these are called loquats, I think it is. It's like a small yellow round fruit, and it grows on, I think, a bush or a tree or something like that. And it's another one of those things like the quince that I had no clue about, and now it's fascinated me so much that I'm trying to seed them, and we'll see how that goes because it takes a few months apparently. And I don't have the patience. Usually the time goes by and I will just be like, what's in this pot? Because I have trouble labeling my pots in the past. But this time I made sure I labelled those pots with loquats, and the instructions of how to keep the fucking thing alive so that I don't actually kill it. And same with the quince. I was obsessed with quince for a while, and then I couldn't find a local crop. So now I'm having to propagate it from a stem, and we'll see how that goes again. I don't know why, I don't wholeheartedly believe in propagation from stems, and people telling me that fruit won't grow from a seed of an apple or a seed of a fruit tree or a fruit. And it just, to me, sounds so bloody stupid, because that's how you grow everything over and over again. It's supposed to fall from the tree and rot away on the earth and build up the soil, and then it's supposed to grow in the organic soil which has all the nutrients in it, and those seeds are supposed to germinate again and again and again and be spread around by birds. And to hear or read about the fact that that doesn't work anymore because of too much hybrid, whatever the crap, but then it works with the stems of the ones that you can't grow with the fruit. I don't even understand. The internet is the worst place on earth. But we'll see how the loquats go. I'm very interested in a lot of things that don't have an agricultural tie to them. What the fuck? Oh, sorry. Something just fell off the wall. We got ghosts in this house. Anyway. Whew. Spookstober, mate. Oh, man. Jesus Christ. Whew. Yeah. Every moment that I try to quit this vegetarian thing that I've got going on, I turn myself off from trying to eat meat again. And sometimes it's because of roadkill that I see on the side of the road, and sometimes I'm just worried that if I start eating meat again, I'm going to gain weight. Because with the vegetarian thing, I find that I can overeat a lot of the stuff because I want to, and I won't stop eating sometimes the vegetarian stuff. But if I start eating meat, and it won't be a healthy grade of meat at all, then I find myself eating food that isn't good for me, so like fried food. Because that's what I've been craving, just fried chicken. And that's realistically not on the healthy food department. But yeah, I'm really interested in this book, actually. And I've only just grabbed it, and I do highly recommend it for the recipe side of things. When you're online, it's very difficult sometimes to find something absolutely perfect for your needs, and you might get 50 different recipes online for one different thing. For one, like smoothie, for example, like a blueberry smoothie, there'll be multiple recipes online from different people, but this book is really basic and to the point, which is what I love. And it just tells you how many carrots and how many pears, this is one recipe, and how much of this and that. Oh, I found one actually. I don't have pears though. And how much stuff you could use in this. I have parsley, I have carrots, I have water, but I don't have pears. That's a bummer. It's a good one though. Except the carrot, the juice looks more like orange juice than it does carrot juice. So that's interesting. I wonder if they mocked that up for the photo. Jesus. Just wanna... What the fuck? It happened again! I just want to talk about one thing that is disturbing, and that is two-step verifications. Now, people look at this as a safer way to be online, but I look at this the same way I look at Microsoft Windows and them declaring that certain programs are a threat when they clearly aren't. They're just programs that are pirated, programs that Microsoft does not want you to use without paying for them. So they clearly put a threat sticker on it, and then to me it's very difficult to find out how to allow Microsoft to accept that supposed threat. And I've had it happen to software that is freeware and open source and you're allowed to use and download, and it still does that type of thing. And getting back to two-step verification is the same thing. If you think to the future, you've got to think, what happens if I lose my information, such as a phone? If you lose particular or specific details, you can no longer have access to certain accounts, and there's a string of failures that occur which these companies would obviously know about people, and therefore steal their content and steal their paid for programs. So, for example, I lost my Steam account because I deleted my Gmail account. Because I deleted my Gmail account, I was no longer able to receive the verification code through that email address. And the phone number that was associated with it, I no longer have anymore. And that's a big issue because I've sent them emails, I've had them respond back and forth, they ask me information, they obviously see me as a security threat, and they obviously don't want to proceed. And that is because I can't provide them the bank details that I purchased any sort of game with it. I might try again, but I'm fairly certain that my bank card that I have is recent. And also, the other thing too, I've gone to an ATM, and this happened like a year ago or something like that, probably less, I don't know, or more, I don't know. I've gone to an ATM, I'm not aware of what's going on. I put my card in the ATM, it tells me we've basically confiscated your card because the expiry is over. Right, so in doing that, I no longer have that card, so I no longer have that card information, and that's null and void. So what else can be done if you completely remove your own details? And just for shits and giggles, I tried to log into Steam again, and it didn't work, obviously. And upon discovery, I realised I don't have details for every single thing that they are trying to get me to prove that I own that account. And fair enough for security details being a security threat, but it's a bit dramatic. And they do this with every single thing, and I've noticed that whenever I lose a phone or whenever a phone breaks or this and that, it becomes this big issue of what do I do, because they've made it so I press a button on my phone because my phone is linked to the accounts of the Gmail accounts, instead of receiving an SMS code, and I have to get a new SIM card and I have to do a bunch of stuff like this and that. It can be quite an issue,